the Mulberry Book Drop. Hi, Sarah.
Hey.
Welcome to October.
Woo.
I love being in October.
Me too.
My scary book's on.
Ooh.
Okay, so Sarah,
Yes.
I just want to talk for a minute about our mental health.
Okay.
I recently learned that for your mental health, it is good for you to take up what they call old lady hobbies.
Okay.
So I just want to say that I have, well, it's been a 20 plus year challenge, and I have finally learned how to crochet.
Yes, you have.
I know. You've seen some of my finished works.
I have one of your finished works, and I'm honored. Her name is Stella. She's hanging in my car.
They do have some flaws, but I consider them perfectly imperfect, and I'm really excited. It's I'm surprised by how relaxing it's been because I literally tried, oh my gosh, back in the early 2000s, my mom and I did like an adult education crochet class, and I cried.
Oh no.
And I never did finish that blanket. I don't even know where the yarn is. Didn't happen.
So funny.
And this has been like an on and off thing for 20 something years. So the fact that I'm actually finishing projects now is like really exciting.
I'm proud of you. And like everybody loves them. She's very talented, folks.
Be careful saying that.
Okay.
You saw what Taylor turned out like.
You can tell it's Taylor Swift.
It's
That's all I'm
pretty
saying.
funny.
That's all I'm saying.
Do you have any old lady hobbies?
I mean, I guess the only one that I would really have is like online shopping. But like, I bought a vase. But it's not just a vase, guys. It's a cowboy hat vase. So like, I think it low-key has to hang on my wall. It hasn't come in yet. I'm very excited.
Are you going to do like a whole bookshelf thing with like your cowboy romances? Like, what's the plan?
Honestly, that would have to be, yes, I would love that. But it would have to be on the top shelf of my bookshelf because the vase is very big. And then I went to Michael's, who low-key, kind of an old lady store. Anyways, no offense if anyone shops there. But they had flowers that were 50% off. And not putting real flowers in there. Have you met me? And I got these really pretty flowers that are going to go in there. So I'm really excited.
And it hasn't come in yet?
It hasn't.
Okay, I look forward to seeing it when you get it.
Yes. I will say that I sent a screenshot of it to my best friend, and she said that looks like a toilet bowl.
Oh, no.
Offended. It's not a toilet bowl. It looks like a cowboy hat. So, yeehaw. Anyways.
That's so funny.
Yeah, if anyone wants to see a picture of it, it should be here by the time that the episode drops. So, it'll definitely be here by the time the episode drops. So, just come in and ask to see a picture.
There you go. It does amuse me that they call them old lady hobbies when I'm like, everybody I see on social media that's like crocheting or like doing these so-called old lady hobbies, they're like everyone.
Oh, yeah, for
all
sure.
All ages.
For sure.
Like, I see people just like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh,
yep.
And I'm like, how are they doing that?
Yep.
So, please know, I don't particularly think it's like old lady-ish.
Agreed.
You know?
I think it's for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know why we're here, Sarah?
I do.
Okay.
Am I ready, though? I don't know.
So to prepare our listeners, do you know that on Goodreads, there are actually lists that are labeled books that will have you sobbing or best ugly cry books? Have you ever seen those lists, Sarah?
Honestly, I don't think I have. Or I haven't paid attention.
Okay. Do you know what book shows up on both of them?
It's probably a lot.
Me Before You.
I cannot. Oh my.
We're here to talk about tearjerkers today. Yes.
Me Before You. That book.
That book.
You know, one of our coworkers made me read it for film club, right?
I do.
Do we remember how I reacted? Okay, well, if you didn't know, I'm just a little bit dramatic. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. That book made me sob. And I was at work. And I think I had been reading it on lunch. And then I had to come in and I had to clock in. And I said, guys, I'm sorry. I have to go take a minute. I was already crying. Went into the conference room. I had all the lights off. And here's me dramatically slamming up against the wall. Sliding down the wall. Sobbing. And I'm like... And she walks in and I said, I'm not okay with you right now. Go away. So, that's how Me Before You went, folks.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, we kind of touched on this before, but Sarah and I are both emotional readers. Mm-hmm. And so we are just as likely to like laugh out loud as we are to get caught crying, which I did twice last month.
Yep.
So when we were debating, like, oh, what do we want to talk about on the podcast, we decided that we would talk about tearjerkers. So let's wipe away the stigma of, like, feeling things while we're reading. I think it's totally normal. And personally, I think it just means the author did a really good job.
Agreed.
Yeah. So did you make a little list for us of some books?
I did.
Okay. I thought it would be fun just to kind of go through. We can go back and forth, kind of mention our book, maybe a little why, share your review if you want to. But we're going to try to do this without spoiling books.
Yeah.
So I know if you listened last month, it was probably a bit of a spoiler. This month, we're going to try and keep it a little more generic. But if you're interested in feeling things as you're reading, maybe these books will be for you.
Yeah.
I love it.
I do too.
You want to go first?
Sure. All right, I'm going to kick us off with The Bright Years by Sara Damoff. I think I'm saying that right. I rated it 5 stars, and the book hit really close to home. It's about 4 generations in a family and secrets that people hold on to, but it's told from 3 different point of views, and it's like a tender, true-to-life novel that explores the impact of each generation and a family torn apart by tragedy, but over time restored by the power of grace and love. And I just really feel that this author wrote the book with such tenderness. It was so heartbreaking, but you still feel hope while you're reading it. And the author also liked my review, which, I always fangirl over. And I cried quite a bit during this book. And I know that you actually also read this book.
I did. I cried a lot.
Yeah. So that was my first one. Just starting us off strong,
Yes. Yeah, that was definitely a tearjerker. Okay. My first one is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. This is the first book that I was caught by a patron crying as I was reading the final 3 pages. So thankfully it was somebody I know. If you're listening, thank you for not judging me or laughing at me. This book is about friendship. It's about familial relationships, neighbors caring for each other. And I know I'm making it sound simple, but there is a lot in here, and I really don't want to spoil it for anyone. So I'm just going to give you my review. Epistolary novel, books about books, utterly charming characters. Why am I crying? I just loved this book. And like, to be honest, it was kind of a reminder that like tears also don't have to be bad. So like, yeah, the book touches on grief and stuff, but like some of the tears for me were happy tears because this felt like a very complete novel. And one of the quotes that I saved from it was, grief shared, I think, can produce 2 outcomes. Either you bind yourselves together and hold on for dear life, or you let go and up goes a wall too high to be crossed. And so in this book, as there are, letters being written back and forth, things are being revealed, people are coming to terms with things, they're getting to know each other, and it was just so beautifully done. It really surprised me.
That's fun.
It is. I thought so.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
My next one is called The Names by Florence Knapp. I rated it 5 stars, and I don't think I will ever stop thinking about this book. It takes place over the span of 35 years, and it actually has 3 different storylines. And there's a child that was born, and the 3 different storylines was if the child was named 3 different names, and if that matters and what road it takes. So, and I went and joined in Bethany's program this month, last month of Titles with Tea, and I talked about it. And because I always had the question growing up of what would my life be like if my mom had named me something different. And I don't think I ever really like talked to anybody about it because I was like, it's kind of a weird thing to think about, but I always have. And only because she was going to name me something different and then decided on Sara. And so reading this, I'm like, whoa, like what would my life had been like? And like, don't get me wrong. I love my life. Like I wouldn't trade, my entire history for anything, but I'm just like, how different would I be? Would I know you? Would I work at the library? Anyways, before we get into an existential crisis, there's love, loss, healing, and more in this book. And I started crying in the first chapter, and I never stopped crying. I do recommend that people be in a really good place if they do decide to read this one. So, because it has really heavy topics in it. So, yeah.
I'm waiting for my hold to come in on that one. I'm on the list.
I ordered the first one that you were just talking about. So.
Okay. Very cool. So we can talk about those again later.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, my second book is Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune. I read this for one of my book clubs, and I wasn't really sure how I would feel about it at first because I'm not always a fantasy person. But, like, I don't know how this author writes characters that I feel so deeply for. Mm-hmm. This is the third book I've read by them, and I just completely was, like, so sucked in. I mean, it's just crazy because, I mean, they are fantasy, but I was very invested. So my review starts with, darn it, I cried again. Third book this month to get me. Those grandparent-grandchild relationships, every single time. I'm so predictable. And then I also put a found family, character-driven fantasy placed in a realistic enough space for me to feel like I was reading magical realism. No dragons, but lots of tea, a stag, and what is beyond the door. Mm. And then I also loved, there was a quote in there that said, never forget where you come from, but don't allow it to define you. Mm. And I thought that was really good.
That is good.
And then this was also the one that, because in the book, one of the main places that you are at is this, like, kind of like a cafe. So it's like a tea house. And so one of the things that they always say at the tea house is, the first time you share tea, you are a stranger. The second time you share tea, you are an honored guest. The third time you share tea, you become family. Mm. So there was a lot going on in this book. But it just sucked me in pretty much from the beginning. Like, you know, you got the unlikable character, something happens, and then, you know, things start moving along, and you're just like, huh, wait, what? And then next thing you know, you're meeting a couple other characters, and you just fall in love with them, and you just have to know how it all turns out. And I did huge, giant teardrop, like, just all of a sudden, I thought I was fine. I was totally fine. And then, boom, and I'm like, oh,
she
no.
She wasn't fine, folks. She wasn't.
I wasn't fine.
That's funny.
What do you got?
So my next one is The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. And I know that name might sound familiar. So Queen Rebecca writes books besides dragons, folks, and they are worth the time. So I actually listened to this one and I cried. I don't think I've ever cried in an audiobook, and I did. It's dual storylines, present day and World War II. And I, of course, rated it 5 stars. And my review was this. I am unwell, destroyed, sobbing, but I loved it. That's it. That's all I wrote. I said, okay.
It's a solid review.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't realize that she actually was like a contemporary author first, you know. And I think we talked about that when we talked about our Dragon episode. And I loved it. And I have a couple more of her books on my to-read list. So.
Yeah, I thought she was the one that she goes back and forth. Like, she does her fantasy, and then she writes a contemporary, and then, you know,
and
so kind of almost like a brain break.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I would rather you do that and take your time and write what you want to write than try to feel pressured by people and to just push out a whole series and it, you know, not be what she wanted it to be as an author, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I'm going to take us back in time.
Ooh.
Do you remember the book Marley and Me? Life and Love with the World's Worst Dog.
I will never read it.
By
I will
John
never
Grogan.
watch it. Okay, sorry. And go.
You're fine. Spoiler, Marley dies, guys. I'm gonna say that right now because I know Sara can't read books if the dog dies.
Nope.
So if that's your trigger, you have been warned. I actually remember, so I don't even have a review for this one because I read it before I was on Goodreads, but like it still is with me. Like it I hate to say it haunts me, but it's there. It's just hanging, you know? And so there was a movie night once where my kids picked the movie, and of course we're all sobbing, and everybody's
no.
Who picked this movie? I'm like, you guys did. Okay, so like I said, read it before Goodreads, but if you love dogs, if you have ever had a like not great dog who is also the best dog ever and you wouldn't change them for anything in the world, you got to read this book. I just remember, like, I loved Marley so much. Like, the whole situation between Marley and the family just spoke to me just immensely. Like, there was so much life and love that was, like, shared between the dog and the family. And I think if you're an animal lover, it's just one of those things. Like, if you don't love animals, like, it's just something you're never truly going to understand. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. But, like, there's just something about the love of a dog or the love of your cat, like, there's just a connection.
Yep.
And it's unexplainable. And for some reason, every once in a while, somebody gets one of those dogs that's just so awful and so perfect at the same time. And that was Marley.
Yeah.
So, Marley.
Well, I'll take your word for it. I won't personally read it.
Okay.
Because I will be under a table somewhere for days.
But it's so good.
Yep. I'll take your word for it.
He's actually a good author, or a good writer, too, because he's like a newspaper writer or something like that. Yeah. So,
cool.
Yep.
All right, the next one
I'm ready.
Is actually one that you recommended to me, as are a lot of books. But this one is Shark Heart, a love story by Emily Habeck. I think I'm saying that right. I'm just going to start with this. Everybody needs to read this book. Bethany recommended it to me, and it is one of the best books I've ever read. I want to give absolutely nothing away. People have to find out for themselves. I rated it 5 stars, and this is what my review said. I loved this book. I felt all the emotions and cried several times. Bethany witnessed it. I will be thinking about this book for a long time and contemplating my entire life. Everyone needs to read it. I'll repeat that. Yeah.
Wow, you feel very strongly.
I do, because when I loved the cover, you showed me the cover, and you said, no, you should give it a shot. And I was like, and then I went into it. It's destroyed, but like in the best way.
Yeah, it makes you think.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, I don't know, I guess like technically like a little sci-fi, but feels nothing like sci-fi.
But also a little like story in verse in a weird way, because there's actually pages where there's only one sentence and it says everything that you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 recommend.
We actually have a like super avid reader who had come to the library recently that was like in a reading slump, and that happened to just, somebody had returned it. And I was like, did you ever do this one? Because I thought like, oh, you know, not a lot of words on some of the pages. It'll go by really fast. Like might be a nice brain break. And when they returned it, I said, what did you think? And they were just so passionate. Yeah. So passionate. And I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And it did. It got them out of the slump.
Yep.
And it really made them think. And they told me that they were, they were reading the whole way back from a trip. Mm-hmm. And the family went in the house and they stayed in the car and finished the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those books.
It is a life-changing book. I'm going to say it. You may or may not agree. It's a life-changing book.
Wow.
And everybody that has read it, I absolutely love talking to them about it, because they're like, what did I just read? Fam, same. What did we read? Yeah. I don't know.
I'm still not sure what I read, but I loved it.
Exactly. Yeah. What's your next one?
Okay. Teen Bethany read a lot of sad books.
Oh.
And they were all those kind of like, I have a fatal disease and spend most of my life in the hospital, and I fell in love with another teen who also has a terminal illness, like those type of books, right? So when I was working at the bookstore, everybody was coming in for the same book, and everybody was crying over the same book. And I was like, whatever, it can't be any like more sad than the books I used to read. And then I finally picked up the book. Can you guess what it is?
I don't think so.
The Fault in Our Stars by John Green.
Oh.
Guys, this book.
I haven't read it.
You never read this one?
Nope.
How did I not know that?
Yeah. Nope.
Oh.
Nope. I know how it ends. But maybe now me, Sara, can read it.
Yeah,
Past me could not. But maybe me now could.
Okay. Well, I don't know what it was about teen Bethany. Like, I really did genuinely enjoy crying over books. I don't, hormones, whatever. I have no idea. Maybe I just need an excuse to cry. But, like, it is what it is. So, as an adult, when I was kind of like, you guys are being silly. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I too was silly. So maybe I should read the book. So I did. And my review was, quick teen read, but I loved it. Truly honest account of teen cancer, in my opinion. Not that I know. I don't know why I said that. Beautifully written. Yes, I cried a few times and was caught by my husband, but it was worth it. I don't know why I thought it was an honest account, because upon reflection, I just have no clue. But it really connected with me, and I think part of it is there were some quotes in it. And one of them was, you don't get to choose if you get hurt in this world, but you do have some say in who hurts you. I like my choices. And so I think as an adult, it was more the quotes for me. So I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote my review, but it is what it is. Can't take that back. John Green writes mostly young adult stuff. There's a couple adult nonfiction. And I've read a few of his young adult books, and I've always really enjoyed them. But man, The Fault in Our Stars, like, and then I think about, did you ever see the movie?
Nope.
Okay, because I think about the movie, and I'm like, well, as a parent, like, I would never allow my child to do that. Like, I wouldn't, So it is kind of funny, because now, like, I think when I read it was before I had kids, and now I do have kids, and I'm like, well, it's not realistic at all. Maybe it is. I don't really know. But boy, did that book get me. I cried so hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
My mom watched the movie and she was like, oh my gosh, have you ever seen this? Nope. Because I feel like that was like right at my generation. Like everyone was reading it. And I was just like, no, thank you.
Yeah. If any of you are my age-ish, maybe you used to read Lurleen McDaniel. They were always those books that were like 6 months to live, like those kind of ones. Yeah, and it always was like, cystic fibrosis or, my mom was a nurse. I think there was probably just a part of me that was just trying to understand what other people were maybe going through. Yeah. Like, it just was one of those things. Yeah. Huh. I don't know. Got all sorts of feelings. What about you?
So I actually only have this one last book, but it is The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah. So it takes place in France in 1939, sisters, family, love. So, of course, like the start of World War II. There's a lot to unpack, and I just was crying my eyes out. This is, fun fact, this is the only book I have ever read on vacation and finished on vacation. And I was sitting on a cruise ship, and I was sitting in the library on a cruise ship with my Kindle in my lap, and there's a bunch of people in the library, and of course it's really quiet because it's a library. And I was crying, and I was like, oh no, what if someone sees me? And I'm just going to be like, it's just the book. But, yeah.
But if they're also in the library on a cruise ship, like, I think they would be a person who would understand why you're crying.
Yeah, so it just, and it's so interesting because we just talked a few episodes ago how, like, I never read on vacation. I take my Kindle, I'll take a book, whatever, and I never read. And this is the first book that I've started on vacation and finished on vacation, and it's not a small book.
And I take a book a day, and I finish almost all of them.
Yep, nope, can't really. Anyways, but yeah, I was crying on a cruise ship, I'm in the middle of the ocean, living my best life, crying over a book. So that's how you know that it was real.
It's so impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, I also have one last one, and it's called The Guncle by Stephen Rowley. And this one, when I first picked it up, I thought it was going to be like a light read. Like the cover is kind of cartoonish and, so I thought it was going to be more like a family comedy.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So it did end up being the start to a series. I have read the second one, but I will say you could definitely read just the first one and be done. And that's totally fine. I read it on a whim, and to say I cried is an understatement. So in this book, you have a family that's like going through a tough time. And I think one of the things I love so much about it was that to protect the kids, they sent the kids to stay with their Guncle, so their gay uncle, while they deal with the adult stuff. So I kind of loved that the adult stuff was like sort of off to the side, and it was focused more on making sure like the kids are safe, the kids are okay, the kids are being talked to at a level that they understand. And I thought that was just really well done. So it's like you're aware of the adult stuff, but since it's off screen sort of, it's more about their relationship with their Guncle.
Okay.
And it was very sweet. So like a lot of unconditional love of family, being who you are, being there for the people that you love. And then my review was, this was a sweet story, and I really appreciate how the author wrote the children. Kids, especially young ones, are tough. For me, Maisie and Grant were believable, honest, sweet, and funny. I liked it. And then I also had a quote, and it said, I need you to remember something. We'll call it Guncle Rule number 16. I want you to really live. To live is the rarest of things. Most people merely exist. And so there was a lot of like moments when the kids were kind of struggling, and the Guncle would be like just being with them and talking to them and just somehow saying the right thing, and I was like, this, always talking to them at their level. And I don't know. I thought the author did a fantastic job with it.
That's not at all what I thought that book was about, because I see the cover all the time because it gets checked out a lot. I had no idea that's what it was about. I thought it was like a vacation.
No, the second book is more of a vacation, because that one, I think it's called The Guncle Goes Abroad, and there's like a wedding, and so they're all, I forget if they're in like Greece or Italy, they're all somewhere.
Gotcha.
And and it was fun, but like the first one was very much my heart, like
tearjerker.
And there was a couple times I remember as I was reading it that when you get like choked up, but like you don't cry.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like I'm feeling things, but like I'm okay. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not okay.
Aww. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was one of those books.
Relatable.
But and I've read a couple other ones by the author, and I really like him. I think he does a great job.
Awesome.
Yep. So, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
We didn't cry.
We didn't. It was touch or go.
But it's okay to cry.
Exactly.
Especially in a safe space.
Yeah.
The library's a safe space, You can come cry if you need to. Talk to us about your sad books. Yeah. We'll listen.
Yeah.
Always. So, Sarah, my last question for you then, just to end on a high note.
Uh-huh.
What are you reading now?
I am reading Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I think I'm saying that right. And honestly, I'm reading it because it's being made into a movie. And when that happens, I want to read the book first. So it hasn't come out yet. So I'm going to read the book first. Yeah.
I hope you like it.
Me too. I was talking to someone earlier, and I was like, I love that, movie makers, I don't know, all those people, are going back to making books into movies, because I feel like that's kind of like, not like fully strayed away, but people were kind of starting to stray away, and like everyone's making all these remakes. And I'm like, but we have all this great material. Let's make these. So, I talked to them. I talked to the movie makers and said, let's make this happen. I'm just kidding.
You made the connections.
I did. No, but I'm really excited about it. And it's like, it's sci-fi, right? So.
Yeah. Because it's like space stuff.
Yeah. And I love that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. What are you reading?
I did some Googling because I was really in the mood for another Circus book.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't want like dark Circus, right? Yeah. Like I didn't want, creepy Circus. I don't know. So I looked at a couple of lists and I figured something out. And so I am trying Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked Comes This Way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we will see how it goes. I've only ever read one other book by him. I'm hoping it's not going to be too dark circusy.
Yeah.
I wanted something kind of in between. Like, we loved Water for Elephants. I loved The Night Circus. Like, I wanted something that was a little more somewhere in there. So I'm not sure, because, with the title, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. It was, highly recommended.
For sure.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, if you guys have any books that make you cry when you read, we want to hear what those books are. If you have any questions, you can always find us on Instagram or Facebook, or you can email us your thoughts at themulberrylibrary@gmail.com. And we would love to hear your thoughts on all of it. Or if any of you have old lady habits that aren't really old lady habits, but they're called old lady habits, we want to know.
Let's call them cool lady habits.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to see Bethany's work, let us know. I'll show you my car.
Oh my gosh.
And with that,
happy reading, Mulberry.